For more than 5 decades, John Travolta has been one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces, known for his effortless charisma, iconic dance moves, and a career that has spanned generations. From the explosive success of Saturday Night Fever to his later resurgence in Pulp Fiction, audiences have watched him evolve on screen. Yet behind the confident smile and polished public image has always been a quieter, more private man navigating personal challenges far from the spotlight. Fame brought him admiration, but it also brought relentless attention, speculation and pressure that few people ever truly understand. Over the years, Travolta learned how to present strength while carrying immense emotional weight behind closed doors. As he enters his 70s, recent choices and subtle shifts suggest a man who is no longer defined by expectations, but by reflection. His story today is less about celebrity and more about resilience, loss, and the slow process of redefining what truly matters. A long-standing spiritual path under public scrutiny. John Travolta's connection to Scientology began when he was just 21 years old, at a time when his career was still uncertain and his confidence still forming. Over the decades, he often credited the church with helping him overcome self-doubt and navigate early professional struggles. Alongside his wife, Kelly Preston, he became one of the organization's most visible celebrity figures, admired for his loyalty and consistency. For many years, that bond appeared unbreakable. However, as time passed, observers began noticing subtle changes rather than dramatic announcements. Travolta never publicly distanced himself, but his presence at high-profile events became less frequent, and references to the church gradually faded from his public statements. These shifts did not suggest rejection, but rather reflection. After decades of involvement, it appeared he was quietly reassessing how spirituality fit into his life moving forward, especially as personal loss reshaped his priorities and emotional landscape. The loss of a son that changed everything. The most defining tragedy in John Travolta's life came on January 2nd, 2009, when his son Jet passed away at just 16 years old during a family vacation in the Bahamas. What began as a peaceful holiday turned into every parent's worst nightmare in a matter of moments. Jet, who had long lived with medical challenges, suffered a seizure and could not be revived despite immediate efforts to help him. The devastation was unimaginable, but the pain was compounded by the public nature of the loss. As news spread rapidly, the family was forced to grieve under intense scrutiny. Travolta later spoke about the profound impact of losing his child, describing it as an experience that shattered his sense of stability. From that point on, life was divided into before and after. The loss permanently altered his outlook, his emotional rhythm, and the way he approached both family and career. Grieving in the public eye without privacy. Most families who endure such loss are allowed the dignity of privacy, but John Travolta was denied that comfort. Media attention intensified immediately after Jet's passing, with speculation and commentary flooding headlines during the family's most vulnerable moments. The pressure of navigating grief while remaining composed in public took a lasting toll. Travolta and Kelly Preston focused on protecting their family, especially their younger children, while trying to process their own heartbreak. Over time, Travolta acknowledged how isolating the experience felt, explaining that grief does not follow a timeline and does not ease simply because time passes. While support came from many directions, nothing could replace the presence of his son. That period marked a noticeable shift in his demeanour, with fewer public appearances and a quieter presence overall. The tragedy forced him to re-evaluate what truly deserved his energy, attention, and emotional investment moving forward. Kelly Preston, partner, anchor, and loss. Kelly Preston was far more than John Travolta's wife. She was his emotional anchor, creative partner, and the person who understood the weight of his public life better than anyone else. Married for nearly 3 decades, they built a family grounded in mutual respect and shared values, raising their children with a strong sense of togetherness. When Kelly passed away in July 2020 after a private battle with breast cancer, the loss left a void that reshaped Travolta's entire world. His public tribute focused on gratitude for medical care and family support, notably absent of broader affiliations. Friends described him as deeply changed, more introspective and guarded. Losing Kelly meant losing the person who had helped him navigate fame, grief, and constant scrutiny. Her absence did not just affect his personal life, it quietly influenced how he structured his world, who he leaned on, and how he chose to move forward. Quiet shifts and changing priorities following Kelly Preston's passing, observers noticed subtle but consistent changes in John Travolta's lifestyle. He became more selective about public appearances and increasingly focused on private routines centered around family. Rather than grand statements or dramatic transitions, his evolution showed up in small decisions. He spent more time at home, more time with his children, and more time engaged in activities that brought peace rather than attention. Friends noted that he seemed less concerned with maintaining a public image and more invested in emotional stability. His social circle gradually shifted as well, becoming smaller and more grounded. These changes reflected a man who had endured enough loss to understand that constant performance is unsustainable. At this stage of life, Travolta appeared to be choosing calm over chaos, presence over perception, and authenticity over expectation. A career reframed, not abandoned. John Travolta never stepped away from acting, but his relationship with work evolved significantly. Instead of chasing reinvention or blockbuster relevance, he began selecting projects that aligned with his lifestyle and emotional bandwidth. Films like Cash Out allowed him to remain creatively engaged without overwhelming pressure. He also embraced nostalgia on his own terms, reconnecting with fans through appearances that celebrated his legacy rather than defined his future. A notable example was his appearance at a Grease sing-along event, where he revisited an iconic role with warmth and humour. Rather than clinging to the past, these moments reflected acceptance. Travolta no longer needed to prove anything. His career became something he enjoyed rather than something he relied on for identity. That shift marked a healthier balance between passion and personal peace. Fatherhood at the centre of his world. Today, John Travolta's greatest focus is his role as a father. His children, Ella Blue and Benjamin, shape nearly every decision he makes. Ella's journey into music has been met with quiet encouragement rather than spotlight control, allowing her to grow into her own artistic voice. Travolta supports her from the sidelines, proud but never overpowering. With Benjamin, he has embraced a slower, more intentional rhythm of life, valuing shared routines and meaningful conversations. Having experienced profound loss, everyday moments now carry deeper meaning. Simple activities like cooking together, travelling quietly, or spending time outdoors have become central to his happiness. Friends describe him as more patient, more present, and more emotionally available than ever before. Fatherhood is no longer one part of his life. It is the foundation around which everything else revolves. Choosing silence over explanation. One of the most striking aspects of John Travolta's later years is his comfort with silence. He no longer feels compelled to address speculation, clarify rumours, or explain personal choices. Instead, he allows his actions to speak quietly for themselves. This restraint signals confidence rather than avoidance. After decades of scrutiny, he understands that not every chapter needs narration. By refusing to engage with noise, he has reclaimed a sense of control over his narrative. That silence has also allowed space for healing, reflection, and genuine connection. In a culture that rewards constant disclosure, Travolta's restraint feels deliberate and earned. It reflects a man who has lived through enough to know that peace often comes not from being understood by everyone, but from understanding oneself. A life redefined by intention. At 71, John Travolta appears more grounded than ever, not because life became easier, but because he learned what deserves his energy. Loss stripped away illusions and clarified priorities that fame once blurred. His life today is built around family, balance, and quiet fulfillment, rather than external validation. The shifts people notice are not dramatic departures, but thoughtful recalibrations shaped by grief, growth, and maturity. Travolta's story is no longer about reinvention or comeback arcs. It is about acceptance, intention, and choosing how to move forward after unimaginable loss. What lies ahead remains unknown, but one thing is clear: he is no longer living to meet expectations. He is living to protect peace, nurture connection, and honor the life he has carefully rebuilt